thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate you doing that. It makes my morning to come in and see all those thumbs up. Today on the Buying Space channel, we not only have one, but we have two unboxings. These unboxings are from Ray Ray, or also known as Amber, who is opening her own thrift store, her street. Well, I don't know if it's a street. They live in a town, and I don't know if there's a road up to the place, but I don't know if it's like on a main street type situation. But she is opening her own thrift store, and she and her husband have had an eBay store forever, and they both have their own YouTube channels. And I used to go to their lives a long time ago on YouTube terms, probably 2-3 years ago, and Flippin' Mike is her husband. And usually when I would go there, they would have this girl named Natasha. Well, she wasn't a girl, she was a woman who was a frequent guest. Oh dear, Marty has a cough this morning. But this week, I went to Bob Any Finish Possible's giveaway, and I gave away a piece of art glass. I got that out in the mail this week. And pretty soon it's coming up that I'll be on Two Old Guys Vintage and Resale, reselling some things. I haven't really decided yet. I got a couple of weeks to decide what I'm going to sell. I'd like to know your opinion. So if you're watching this, put in the chat what you would like to see me sell. I'm not ready. Well, I guess, I don't know if I'm ready to sell glass, but I've got tons of glass laying around. Should I sell glass when I go on the auction or not? What should I sell? I have been selling buttons before. I said I was going to go from buttons to brooches, but I don't know. I've sold a lot of my good buttons. I'm going to eat this ginger delight. We all had a fun time last night. Excuse me. Oh, wow. Ginger delights are good. They calm your stomach, but I don't recommend you have them before coffee. Anyway, we had East Coast sellers versus West Coast sellers. When I came in, I said to everyone, hello, winners. And someone had pegged me to be cheerleader for East Coast resellers. And so I was like, okay, I would root for the East Coast anyway. But when I came in, I said, hello, winners. And it ended up, how it worked was every time somebody sold something on their round, like each person got 3 turns, they could earn up to 3 points per round. So it ended up that, like if somebody said, okay, it's, this is just talking about how this is done. Okay, these are $5 choice. And somebody bids and wins this one and says they want this one, but they didn't sell this one. They still get the point. So that's how it worked. It ended up the East Coast resellers and the West Coast resellers got 24 points. So they tied. It was so marvelous. And I put in the chat, I said, you know what? When I came in, I said, hello, winners. Like, you know, you're all winners because they all won when they tied. And we all had a really good time. And I was a cheerleader for the East Coast. And late, but her name was Madison, and she was a real national cheerleader. So while John was bragging, which he did a lot the entire auction, he just went on and on and on and bragged and said they were going to win. And I think it ended up nicely that everybody won, that it tied. So good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday morning or Friday evening, depending upon where you are in the world. The auction after that, I wasn't able to stay. It was at Becky's Vintage and More. And Barbara, this mystery guest, came in just a little late, that dramatic entrance to, but I didn't, by the time she was selling, by the time anybody was selling, I had already passed out because the auction was at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I went ahead and left. So also this weekend, today, I should finish about today. Today, Ray's unboxing videos, or Amber's unboxing videos, I should say. There's one at 3:30 and I think one at 5. So there is a part 2. Yesterday, the unboxing was from Amber. Today, the unboxing is continuing from Amber. And there is a part 2. And there is a part 3. There's a small video being released at 5 about one of the characters I received from Amber. So, that's fun. I have a bonus unboxing on Friday night. And then Saturday, I'm reading from Psalms, and I'm to the end of Psalms. So in April, I'll be reading, I don't know yet. I'm making a list of videos I want to make that are Bible commentaries that are from, I guess I want to call it loose ends, because I've been reading the Bible for 2 years now on the internet, or more. No, much more, maybe even 4 years. And all that time, sometimes I said, well, maybe I'll talk about this in the future. When I said that, I didn't always, do that. So I'm going back, and I know of at least a half a dozen things that I have wanted to do here and there in each Bible series that I didn't do. So I don't know, maybe I'll call it my loose ends Bible readings on Saturday morning, but we'll wait and see what I do. When the last Psalm, which is Psalm 150, is read this next weekend, which, oh my goodness, I may take that one weekend off and then start back with my new thing on Saturday morning for my Bible studies. And then Sunday morning, I have adult Bible studies from the pamphlet from my church. And I do a supplemental reading to what the Sunday school teachers do. And then on Sunday evening at 5 p.m., I read from the Torah. And right now I'm in Leviticus. So and you'd think the Leviticus would not be fun, but it is fun. I don't know, do I have the chat turned off? Soon as I start talking about my Bible reading, everybody leaves. So then on Wednesday, I have gospel readings from the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which are the first 4 books of the New Testament. And that's the summation of my Bible readings that I do for the week. And then I do unboxings Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 3:30. So today, I've just got a lot of personal stuff to do. And if I pop in an auction, it's kind of random today. I don't have anybody on my schedule, anybody on my calendar. Today is the last, I believe the last. Is it the last? Traffic jam auction? Is that having an auction today? Because I know that Randy last night at Becky's Vintage and More, she was the other seller. Barb Lakira was one seller, and Randy from Moon Valley Crafts was the other seller. But Randy said she's going to be I believe, on the traffic jam auction this Friday, and she's going to be next week on the hump day auction. I'm having another ginger. We went out to European Street and got these. We had a dinner out there, and we're going back this weekend. But I had a wonderful, oh dear, it's irritating my throat. I had a wonderful beer cheese soup and a tabbouleh and chicken Mediterranean salad, and it was delicious. And Marty had a white Russian sandwich, and we love going there. We get half and half tea, but they have all kinds of beer on tap. Marty and I don't drink beer. Marty has celiac disease, and it's very hard to find gluten-free beer. Plus, it's not a good idea when you're diabetic to drink beer. So we don't drink beer. But that place is kind of a miniature beer heaven for people. It's one of the places in Jacksonville, Florida, that you can get custom-made European beers. And so I don't know what the tariffs are going to do to their business, but they do have a wonderful selection, and they do have it on tap. I just am not a beer drinker. I'm not one of those people that thinks drinking alcohol is a sin. Jesus turned water into wine. I think it's like, for those of you that remember TV, and most people do still have TVs in their houses, but when you turn that thing on, or when you go on the internet, you can choose where to go. And you can go somewhere on there that is nice and wholesome, that has interesting content, or you can go somewhere evil, and you can watch nakedness or whatever you want to watch by choice. So you get to, I'm cutting up this label. I got this address label. You know, the TV has a remote, or you have a keyboard to choose where you want to go. So I've got this, and the part of it has my address on it, and part of it has another person's address on it. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm not having any trolls this morning. That's good. And here is my name and address if you want to send me friend mail. I have a post office box. I'm kind of waiting for this to focus in. There it goes. I had to shake it up a little and show you my zip +4 and the town and everything. That's my name and address if you want to send me friend mail. So I'm going to put this address label and the address label of the person who sent me the package in my little box over here. So what I do is I take these labels out of this little box, especially the ones that have my name and address on it, and I just tape it to the other side of the box in the front column, you know, up at upper left-hand corner when I'm mailing out a package. And it saves money and time. And actually, some of these papers on this label had a front side and a back side. And the back side, they had attached just plain ordinary pieces. I'm going to remove the paper from the back. And here I have a little piece of typing paper to save. To write on, to put on a box for shipping. I haven't got my printer going yet, so I can do that until my printer is working. See, this one's kind of big too. And this one was on the edge. Okay, so I'll cut around that where the adhesive is. Oh, this has a tear on it. So I'm just going to cut off this wrinkled and torn part on this side. And here I have another label to do shipping with. Just need some tape to put it on and to write on the label who it's going to or who it's coming from. But I have tons of labels now with my name and address to put as the return label. So usually when I handwrite something out, it's to the to person. So nobody's going to talk to me today. Okay. I don't know what's going on with that, but it's okay. It's okay. Guys, just remain calm. Do not panic. We had a good time at the auctions last night. I wasn't able to stay at Becky's Vintage and More and buy anything because I was just so tired. Yeah, this one's big enough to make a label with. I already did that. So, yeah, the big pieces I've already removed the back from. So basically, these pieces are trash because they've got plastic on them. They've got adhesive. So I do have to throw some things away. And that gets tiring. But anyway, I'm smelling the coffee. And it smells so good. I get coffee from Door County Coffee. I used to order from Tracy Cakes. I order it from Amazon now. You know, I'm just kind of worn out today. You know, I did stay up late. I usually go to see David Lynn, principal prepper. He lives in Texas. He's a retired principal, and he preps. He gets ready for disasters. He gets ready for the end of the world as we know it. And we all know that we've all heard for 2 decades now, the grocery stores could close at any minute. And the way things are politically right now, it's a possibility. But David recently, him and his wife built him and his buddy and some other guy built a chicken coop. This is like a big chicken coop condo on his property. So he's got eggs, no matter how much they cost. He just posted a video showing egg prices in Texas, and they were reasonable. So he's probably wondering if his investment on that chicken coop was worth it. But I think it is, because if you have a chicken coop and the egg prices go back up, you know, you're set. You don't have to worry about what the egg prices are anymore, other than a point of interest. Like, well, did my investment pay for itself in building this chicken coop? So I got all this chopped up, ready for the trash. I'd let you vote on whether you want me to do an unboxing or not. All right. The thing is, it's so funny when I go to places after I do my live. If I leave early, people say, "Oh, I went there and she wasn't there anymore." And then if I'm out here a long time, you know, nobody's still talking to me. But to take the opportunity to say that I wasn't there or I didn't have my live, when I leave earlier, it's always like, oh, you were gone, and it's just like, no, I had my live. I did have my live. But so it was kind of like weird, like no matter how long you do your live, there's always somebody saying, you didn't do your live, or, it's just insidious. So I'm learning, what happens when you do lives. But I'm so glad I don't have any trolls today. I had some really bad trolls yesterday. I had some people that I thought were my friends that said harmful things too. So, it was a learning day. Let's just say that. And someday, I'll have my own audience here. It may take a while for me to find my tribe. A lot of people come in I love, and they love me. And it's just that, maybe it's not a good day for them because they were up late at the auctions, and people were up late at the auctions last night for sure. So I'm just going to be organizing stuff on my desk here and talking. I did hit 1,300. I was going to talk about a giveaway today, but I only have a couple people, so I'm not going. Oh, good morning, Misty. How you doing? Misty here has a wonderful channel. She does every week. She does this segment called 10 Things, and she shows us 10 pieces of absolutely stunning jewelry, and I just love it. And she also makes her own pottery, which I find fascinating. I'd love to see more pottery videos, Misty. I know it's winter and maybe that's not convenient, but I love when you go out to flea markets or festivals. We used to go to a lot of festivals, but as I've gotten older, we, stopped going to so many. But Jacksonville, Florida has tons of festivals. They have selling booths in there's Halloween festivals, there's Oktoberfest, and it's not just in the fall. Every 3 or 4 months, they have a veggie fest, and they have wonderful alternative foods available at every tent. And they always have, when it's down at Riverside Park, they always have music. Yeah, I'm so happy about 1,300. I guess next week I'm going to have a giveaway, but there were so many people sleeping late today on Friday that I don't have much of an audience. So I guess I'll officially announce it right now. I'm going to have a 1,300 subscriber giveaway. And yet I don't know. I need to figure out what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it. Good morning, Tooch Man. I was just wondering if everybody was still sleeping because they stayed up late last night because of the auction. But Tooch Man was in the East Coast resellers versus the West Coast resellers last night. And when I came into the chat, I said, hello, winners. And it ended up they were all winners because they had a tie in their Rumble in the East Coast resellers versus the West Coast resellers. And that was a lot of fun. Good morning, Craig. You're not asleep. Oh, okay. At least you don't think you are. I get that way in the morning too. But they're going to rehab the East Coast resellers versus the West Coast resellers, I believe, in a couple months. So it's going to be a regular thing where they have this rumble between the two. And I like how the points were kept. And also, what was wonderful about that auction was Jennifer Hayes, who is a moderator for so many people and donates so much of her time, got rewarded because she the coffee or, whatever she wants with that $5. It doesn't necessarily have to be food, but it's just symbolic of showing appreciation to Jennifer. And part of the auction was if you bought Jennifer a milkshake, you put in the name of the team in the subject box, or what is this for box on PayPal, and that got another point for the East Coast resellers or the West Coast resellers. So not only did we have a good, fun auction, Jennifer got some rewards for all the hard work she does for all of us. Are you awake yet, Craig? I haven't had my coffee. I came in here and I don't know, it just didn't seem like the sun was up yet, and it had to have been. But anyway, I came in here and I sat down and it was 7:06. I'm like, oh no. So I ran to my bedroom and got my phone and I ran back in here. And I started a few minutes late, but it's funny. Some mornings I could be sitting here and I start a few minutes late just because I'm fiddling around with stuff. And some mornings I'm running in here. What was that? What's going on? I heard something rattling. Maybe it was my china cabinet. It's full. It's full of glass. Yeah, it was great. But they ended up tying 24 points each. And we had a good time. And then the next auction, I tried to go to it. It started at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I was just so exhausted. I went in and said hello to everybody at Becky's Vintage and More for their auction because Barbara Lakira is making her comeback into selling. And she came in. What is it? Politely late. What is it called? Fashionably late. And after Becky and Randy, who was the other seller, had introduced themselves. So she got her camera adjusted, and I said hello to her and her husband, Wolf, and I passed out. Because I get up at anywhere from 1 a.m. To 4 a.m. most mornings. And this morning I got up at 1 a.m. and I ran some videos for some friends. I'm watching National Park Princess right now. She's like 100 to 200 watch hours away from her monetization. So I'm helping her get to where she needs to go. And she has the most wonderful videos where she walks through national parks and shows scenery, oceans, mountains. You know, I guess it's some of the mountains are volcanoes, but she shows these trees, these unique trees, and she likes elephant seals. But it's a lot of her videos are walking and she's talking, and some of them are just regular ASMR. Excuse me, with the ocean and that. So, and also I'll watch Dan, who lives in Scotland. He has some fish tank videos. So I'll watch those in the middle of the night. And I watch pre-retirement days. Betty, she has goldfish. So she has fish too, but she also does all these wonderful recipes. So Betty is one of the people that watches almost all of my videos. And I love Betty and her cooking and her goldfish and her dog and just all the wildlife in her backyard. So she does more than just a cooking channel. But she has a husband that has an autism spectrum disorder. My adult child has an autism spectrum disorder. So I watch her and I listen for and relate to the instances where she talks about her husband and how life is, because I also live with someone on the spectrum. So, and it's an adventure sometimes, and sometimes it's like, oh, okay, but the majority of the time, it's a joy. And her joy is cooking for her husband, who has to eat lots of food for some reason with some of his other health conditions. Intelligent. And her husband is very mechanical. Definitely, well, Elon Musk, should I say the name? But Elon Musk actually has the same level of autism that Marty does. He has Asperger's syndrome is no longer in the diagnostic manual, but he has Asperger's syndrome as well. Even though technically Asperger's syndrome doesn't exist, and everybody with Asperger's syndrome now is under the umbrella of autism spectrum disorder. And I don't know if it's Autism Awareness Month or not, but Marty has kind of rebelled against autism acceptance because awareness, because Marty wants to be accepted into society, not just tolerated. So if you go and promote autism awareness, Marty feels like you're just making, people tolerant of your existence, and you're not giving them acceptance and including them into society. So you see the paradigm shift there. So when you have people talking about autism and they're still saying awareness, they're not aware of autism acceptance. So people don't want to just exist and be tolerated. They want to be accepted and included. Marty went to a film school, and when they were at the film school, it's like they were part of the quota. All this DEI stuff, a lot of it is dependent upon how programs are run. If they're run to where the person is just allowed to participate, that doesn't really do the person any good. That's just frustrating. The person has to be included in the activities to show what they can contribute. And it's especially true in those things like, making a film or, doing wall art or doing a play. People need to be expressive in who they are. And if you're given one little line and put in the corner, because you're there, because you have autism or whatever that you're there for, that doesn't really work. It doesn't really work for the person. Doesn't really work for society, because then everybody's shown, okay, we're going to allow them to be here, but we're not really going to let them participate. We're just going to give them one little part over here to do. We're not going to let them shine. We're not going to consider them for a larger role from the get-go because of what they have and who they are. And that's a lot of times how things went. I mean, maybe 2 years from now or 5 years from now, we would be grateful for that. I'm not saying that those programs weren't appreciated for what they were, but at the same time, they were just enough to be frustrating. Just saying. We had a lot of different situations when Marty was in, especially elementary school. I'm going to have another ginger. My throat is tickling. But it's interesting what is happening now. I said in 2013, I felt like, then I said, in 2013, 10 years ago, sorry, one too many gingers. Give me just a minute. Okay, in 2013, I said that it was like we were in Nazi Germany in the 1930s. So I think we've accelerated that. And racism and sexism and transphobia and homophobia are acceptable now and have become mainstream. And it's a shame. It's such a shame to see it. I didn't think I would see this in my line, civil rights laws, and things were getting better, even though they were rough, especially these last 7 years. They were rough, but we were still working and building on civil rights laws. Now, if a judge speaks up against something, they're fired. So we're living in a day and age that the ultra wealthy are just running the rest of us over. And there might not be a gas chamber, but if you have an elderly person in Florida, and Florida is full of elderly people that depend upon, say, Meals on Wheels to get their food, and that's cut off, they'll die. because we all need food to eat. If I don't know what families are supposed to do with, the nursing homes could end up being shut down if Medicaid is defunded. And a lot of people won't be able to work because they'll have to stay home and take care of an elderly person. I mean, what are they going to do? Put their parents on the street if there is no longer a place for them in a nursing home because they are on both Medicare and Medicaid, which most of them are. Most of them are on fixed incomes and don't have any assets left. And the ones that do, the ones that are wealthy, are in nicer nursing homes that are already completely privately funded. But those places are fewer and fewer. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. Canada might, and United States might have a war. I heard that yesterday. We live in very uncertain times, and I hope some of you will come and listen to my Bible readings. Now, I'm not into talking about end times all the time. Occasionally, I do mention it, but we're living in a time where people need to get right with God. Not that yesterday or day before or 10 years ago or 20 years ago wasn't the time to get right with God. Every single solitary day is a day to get right with God. But so a lot of my Bible readings are just talking about the Bible study of the passage I'm reading. It's Bible commentary. But I think it would do people good to listen to what I have to say about the Bible and about Christianity. And occasionally I talk about what's going on. I hadn't, this is the most I've talked about it this morning. It's on my mind. I feel like I'm being led to discuss what's really going on because people go throughout their day pretending that none of this is going on. I've gone into auctions before and mentioned something that was going on that was serious, and it was just ignored. And I thought, wow, the economy's crashing right now, and people are just, doing their own little thing and completely unaware. And, and some of the people are aware, but they don't want to hear it. So I wasn't asking for any big discussion, just kind of like, oh, we're going to acknowledge this is a real thing by somebody. I've sat here in auctions during hurricanes, and it's kind of silly to be at an auction and buying stuff when, there's 70-mile-an-hour winds outside. But I've done it. I've done it myself. So I guess in the future, because things are more serious now, that I won't be doing that. I'm going to prep a little. I'm going to start buying bottled water, and I've got a ton of canned food already. I've always done that, and but I'm going to shift my emphasis on what I'm doing in my life. I've got enough coffee mugs. I love this coffee mug. This coffee mug was purchased by John the Reseller, and I won it as a giveaway. I unboxed it the day that the astronauts returned to Earth. And so I talked about it the next day on my live. And I really love this mug, but I got too many mugs. I really love this drinking cup, but I have too many drinking cups, And this is perfect for Lent with this fleur-de-lis on it. And I was really stoked about this. And I love it. It's purple and gold. How more great can you get? I got this from Dawn Southern Finds, but I didn't need a third Bubba cup, And I'm thinking about getting one. She makes these. I'm thinking about getting one with my channel emblem on it. And then this one I'll give away. I know who I'm going to give this to. I'm probably going to give it to my pastor, but maybe not. I go to church on YouTube, and I hardly ever see my pastor. So, but I just know that she would love that. But we're getting near Easter. You know, Lent is, see, I guess, I don't know if we're at the halfway mark. We're, this next Sunday, I think, is the third Sunday of Lent. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we're at the halfway mark of Lent or not. I should know that. I feel ashamed. I don't know what Sunday of Lent we're in. But I was raised Baptist, and we didn't really observe Lent other than, you know, each Sunday school lesson for the next week would, you know, progress with that, but nobody said it was Lent. There wasn't, all the emphasis was on Easter. We did start studying the phases that Christ went through, the days Christ went through leading up to Easter, but we didn't call it Lent. We didn't know what liturgy was. You know, those things were just kind of, you know, the preacher knew those things, but the congregation really didn't. So the preacher would follow a liturgy and know what each Sunday should be taught, what general verses and the, well, I don't want to say there's set sermons for each Sunday in Lent, but that definitely there's a theme leading to the crucifixion and resurrection. So all of that, we went through those lessons, but we didn't necessarily know what progression we were going through, if that makes sense. So anyway, we are still in Lent, and I need to read my Bible lesson for Sunday, and I need to read Leviticus today and record those so they'll be ready for the weekend. And I need to be studying the Bible today. I had a lot of fun at the auctions yesterday. I might pop in and out of auctions today in between readings and recordings, but that's going to be my focus today instead of being focused on any particular auction or event. Today, Johnny does the Would You Buy It or Would You Leave It segment on his channel, New England Cajun Roots Reseller. And I love that segment. I hope I'm there. And Victoria goes live at 8 o'clock. It's getting near time for Victoria to go on. Adventures with Victoria. She's a wonderful reseller. Lives in the next county from me. We live close to each other. When she ships to me, the package goes through less miles and has less of a carbon footprint than me buying from anywhere else. The only way I could get something, well, actually, since I would have to drive to a store and back, maybe it's less of a carbon footprint than me shopping locally when I buy from her. That would be an interesting thing to be concerned with. How many miles I would have to go out. I mean, we finally figured out that the shipping was less than us meeting up at Starbucks, because Starbucks is expensive. It was nice seeing her every month when we were doing that. We were doing like a monthly meetup where we would meet somewhere locally, and she would give me my purchases, and that was fun, but it was, got to be time consuming and like deliver all of our orders. And it would have been different if some other resellers were coming out. There were only 2 or 3 times that other people were there with me and Victoria and Marty. And it was just ended up being the 3 of us most of the time. So, it wasn't like, oh, we're going to meet with Victoria. It's like, oh, we got to go pick up our stuff, kind of shift after a while. And, and plus it's like, oh, I got to pay for Starbucks food, and I got to pay for, gluten-free Starbucks food. And that was really expensive. So having it shipped to me ended up being better, although I do miss seeing Victoria. But she's on at 8 o'clock, Monday through Friday. And now Johnny's going to be on at 8:30, Monday through Friday. So go to Victoria's at 8 o'clock, and then at 8:30, you can decide whether you want to stay at Victoria's or you want to go support Johnny too. And he's making some other changes. So go to Johnny's today at 8:30 and find out what the buzz is. And you all have a wonderful and blessed day.